Let's hop right in. In today's video, I want to talk about sexual transmutation and tantra. In today's hypersexualized society, we've been lied about a plethora of different things, but because we are at the verge of Kali Yuga, at the end of Kali Yuga, a lot of ancient spiritual practices that we've been neglecting for a while are coming back to surface. A lot of the problems that we're facing in the modern world right now come from the lack of the carnal mind control, or to be more specific, transmutation. When you are unable to transmute the carnal mind and you let the carnal mind control you, there is an obliteration of the psyche, where the psyche starts to become very confused. It starts to become very relegated. It starts to go into the lower mind. And from the lower mind, people are unable to operate from their higher self. And when you are operating from the higher self, ascension from the third dimension to the fifth dimension, which is happening right now, by the way, every day there are ascensions happening. Every second, every minute there are ascensions happening. But right now, a lot of people are addicted to release, addicted to orgasm, addicted to not being able to retain or preserve their sexual essence. And it's getting worse by the day for many, many people around the world right now. Now, if you are not transmuting this energy, if you are unable to control retention while you're having intercourse, what ends up happening is that you give a part of yourself that is so ascended in nature, that is so the light, that is so divine in nature. You start to give parts and fragments of it out. And it starts to really mess with people. It really does. And that's what I have noticed a lot. I can talk for myself. When I am on my celibate journey, a lot of things just work out for me. People just respect me. A lot of women feel very, very attracted to me. A lot of men love to just hang around with me and talk to me. And I notice it right away, or at least in 2 to 3 days, as soon as I release, I start to see problems in my life. I start to see how everything is so connected and intertwined that I'm like, wow, this just cannot be a coincidence. And it's happened over and over and over and over again. Now, let's talk about sexual alchemy. What is sexual alchemy? Sexual alchemy is when you start to operate from a frequency that is much higher. Your consciousness is more wider, it's more extended. Your ventricle system in your mind has more fluid, because your fluid is not being wasted. Your fluid goes from your bone marrow, it goes from the back of your spine up top. If you learn how to practice pranayama, if you learn how to practice and transmute that energy, inner chi. When you are having sex with a person, when you are having intercourse with a woman, one of the main ways to retain while you're having intercourse in Tantra, and please pretend like you've paid me for this information, because this information is very valuable and you can't just find this everywhere. And I'm just going to be honest with you. It was very hard for me to find these type of informations, because a lot of folks are telling you to do this, but they're not teaching you how to do this. Let me give you parts of what I'm trying to tell you. When you are engaging in intercourse, breathe. Breathe properly and become conscious, become more aware of the moment. Become more aware of the moment. Start to imagine that energy moving up your vertebrae. Start to picture that energy moving up your spinal cord. Now, these are very ancient practices that are going to get exposed very soon because of the way the world is right now. The world is in its root chakra collectively for the most people. Most people are operating from the carnal mind. This is the mind of confusion. This is the mind of being controlled. This is the mind where you're more vulnerable to outer attacks on a very frequent basis. My whole point being said is, if you're a man, this is something to really research on. Now, a lot of women understand this. They get it. They know. They feel the energy. If you talk to a woman can feel your energy. And I know this because I've talked to women when I was on retention and I talked to women when I wasn't on retention, and the difference is humongous. The difference is insane because women just respect you a lot. Whether they know it, that you're on it or not, they can sense it. They can feel it. And you know what they say? People forget what you say to them. People forget what you did to them. But people can never forget how you made them feel. And this all has to do, majority of it has to do with the feeling that you put out with this electromagnetic frequency of yours. This is why it's so important to actually learn how to control the carnal mind. And even if you've struggled a lot and you've perpetually fallen into the carnal mind, take some time to think about how that could actually obliterate you if your body controls your mind and it's not the opposite way. You start to fall, you start to act different, you start to take action from a state of confusion. And action without direction is loss. Repeat with me. Action without direction is loss. And this is exactly what I mean. A lot of folks that are against this practice, a lot of folks that are very skeptical of this practice have never done it before. You can't tell a person how a mango tastes if they've never tasted a mango. You could try to explain them how it's a very fruitful fruit and it tastes very juicy, it tastes very this or that, but you could never make them feel it until they've done it, they've ate it themselves. Just like that, if you haven't practiced tantra, or if you haven't done semen retention, or if you haven't done nofap for extended periods of time, you do not know how blessed you become when you do these practices, because these practices connect you to the higher realm. This is what the vast majority of gurus, they don't talk about these things, because they know that once you're on these practices, a lot of these gurus, I'm not talking about all of them, by the way, but there are a lot of them that just don't talk about it. Maybe some of them are not aware of it, maybe it's not in their conscious, but the ones that are and they still choose not to, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. Okay. But I'm here to just tell you, to be very honest with you, if you are someone that is struggling, with motivation, with picking yourself back up, with actually getting the work done, with actually feeling, because a lot of us have lost touch with our feeling. A lot of us can't even enjoy a walk in the park anymore. You know, when you're a kid, right? When you're a kid, think about how excited you were to go to the park. Think about how excited you were to go outside and be on the playground or play football or play soccer. But what ends up happening is that most people fall. They fall to the earth. They fall into the flesh. They fall down. They fall from heaven. When you're a kid, before the age of puberty, you're very outgoing. You're very charismatic as a kid. You're very loving. You're very caring. You just get things. You're so in tune as a kid. This is why when you talk to children are your greatest teachers. Children will tell you things that you never even knew of. Children are one of your greatest teachers. Children are one of your, to correct it actually, they're one of your greatest teachers, but they'll teach you things that you didn't even know about yourself. Why? Because they are not operating from where the majority of adults operate from. This is why they have clarity. This is why they just know things. That being said, have yourself a wonderful day, night, evening, wherever you are. Peace.